Listen up and clean your ears out, because these boys are here.
And we're live.
And we're live. Here we're
We're
live.
live. I'm crawling out of the ground.
You're crawling out of ground.
Maggots crawling through my dick.
You're live to the 2016 Dick Getting Out of That Ground Festival. What is up?
Well, no, this is actually Coachella, but points for trying.
That Aka Coachella. What is up? How are you?
Hi. This week we are we're doing something a bit different here. No, we're not. We're actually just going to be reviewing episode 7 of Kamen Rider X-Aid.
We're doing the same goddamn.
Okay. So, starting with episode 7, the episode begins with Kirya dreaming about finding his unnamed friend dead in a morgue.
Oh, so you're going straight into review.
Yeah.
Okay.
No news. There's no news.
There's no news.
Literally nothing has happened. We've been in cryostasis for this past week.
Well,
Nothing else.
if you're focusing only on nerd bug shit. But okay, continue.
No, literally nothing else.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the episode begins with Kirya dreaming about finding his unnamed friend dead in a morgue, but then awakens in a hospital bed. He shares a patient room with an old man who suddenly begins exhibiting symptoms of the bugster infection. He helps bring the man to Emu and Asuna, who promptly dismiss Kirya in spite of him asserting his full recovery. Meanwhile, Graphite angrily reflects on his loss against Brave. Dan, unsympathetic to him because he went against their plans, confiscates his bug visor as well. Graphite reveals that Kirya really does know Dan to begin him, but the president is unfazed by the fact, knowing Kirya has no way to prove it. At a remote shore, Emu and Hito transform to extract the infection from the patient, which manifests in the form of 2 meatball dragons. They destroy the monster, which splits into the bugsters powered by the last 2 stolen Gashots. Genom shows up and engages level 3 X8 and Brave, buying time for the 2 bugsters to escape. As the group laments on the failed operation, Kirya, having snuck into CR headquarters, offers to help them defeat the Dark X8. The group completely dismisses his offer and disperses, unable to trust him. Nonetheless, Hito privately asks his father to research Kirya's past. A flashback reveals that Kirya, watching the patient from afar, really did have a close friend who was infected with the bugster virus. The patient awakens in CR to his daughter Shiori, who coldly sends her off. When it becomes apparent that the patient is distancing himself from his daughter for her sake, Kirya, being the one to point all this out, leads Emu and him to the bugster. Before the bugster can harm the patient's daughter, Kirya and Emu appear. Hito also arrives and warns Emu not to trust Kirya before transforming. Before Brave can gain an edge on the bugster, Genom intervenes. With little choice, Emu agrees to trust Kirya and the two transform, easily destroying the bugster. Using the Giri Giri Chambara Gashat, Laser transforms into a humanoid level 3 form, and with his new upgrade, he drops the bombshell that Genom is Dan Kuroto, revealing that he had seen him transform. Brave and X8, shocked and struggling to believe the revelation, watch as Laser battles the silent Genom. Using his upgrade's power, he overwhelms Genom and defeats him, but Pallet appears just in time and switches places with Dan, creating the illusion that he is Genom before disappearing. Hito says that he had researched Kirya's past and reveals that Kirya's friend was indeed infected with the virus, but was killed in an accident rather than being killed by the contagion. Unable to prove anything and feeding into his belief that speaking the truth sometimes causes harm, Kirya pretends to have fooled Emu before leaving. And that is the episode. What'd you think?
That was an episode.
It was You say that every week.
Well, it's Toku and it follows the same formula. It was I really liked I'm not even speaking words. Cut this shit out.
Yeah.
But what's his name?
Kirya.
Yeah, I can never say that. Yeah. I liked his 3rd stage more than I thought I would.
Oh, okay.
I liked it a lot more.
Very chunky.
I still don't like it.
Yeah.
I like it more than I thought I would.
It's very chunky.
I like this weapon.
I physically was sweating when they were doing
He was chunky.
when they were doing the stunts when they was flipping over the rails on the stairs. I was like, I couldn't do that. I can't lift a sandwich.
I can't.
This is a little relatable
I don't
joke.
relate to that at all. Anyway.
Yeah, you're the one laughing.
Yeah. I liked it more than I thought I would. He still has googly eyes and.
Yeah, it's funny because with the others, it's like Rider-esque eyes. No, those are just full-on baby boy eyes.
He's just a baby boy.
Baby blue eyes. Just look in those.
I don't know what it is about it specifically.
It looks like a clusterfuck. It's just a few steps away from being a complete mess in my eyes, because you have elements of the bike form. You know, he has that chest with the SNES controller. He has that split up on his shoulders and stuff. It just looks like a mess, and it's really apparent that was designed toy first, suit after.
Yeah.
Not a fan of that form, but it's good that he gets something to fight in.
It's not the fucking bike add-on, so I'm okay.
Yeah, I kept hearing him making more guttural groans whenever.
I was happy when he didn't use that form for the first time in a few episodes, and I was gleeful. So
He was gleeful.
I was gleeful.
Yeah.
I was like,
For a second, I forgot
yes!
for a second, I forgot that was an actual word. So that I was about to say, you're just making that up. You're making up words. Gleeful. No one says. I don't know. People do say gleeful.
Yeah, I say gleeful. So shut the fuck up. Anyway, that's an episode. Anything else?
No. I mean, like, it's possibly straying into some fucking Inoue territory, some fucking Kiva Fies territory,
Yeah.
with the misunderstandings in this episode. Because Kiria could have very well have explained himself, but he chose not to.
He chose not to. He just
chose not to.
He chose to sway away.
He chose to, do the little the diva walk where he goes, ha, man, you got played. You need to stop. And then starts walking away like
He's so petty.
like he's fucking New York on Big Brother, just like walking away, just yeah. I don't know.
He's so cool.
He's cool. I need
very
that Hawaiian shirt and red jacket.
Yeah.
No, I mean, you didn't even notice that the Bugvisor had a chainsaw form until
No.
after. I need that toy.
I need it.
I need that boy.
I need that voice.
Um,
You know what I mean?
what do you?
Little...
What do you think? What do you think of his backstory, like regarding that guy? Do you think there's more to it than it seems, or do you think he really does, or do you think he really is just a con man with a heart of gold?
They all have dramatic pasts. Do you get it?
But I'm saying, like, do you think maybe his friend was killed in an accident because of, you know, freaking out and then getting himself hurt, or do you think maybe there was some sort of, I don't know.
Either way, he would blame himself.
Oh, definitely. I don't know. Maybe thinking he put his friend out of his. That's probably a bit too dark, but maybe he thought he could put his friend out of misery or something, because he was infected and didn't believe he could save him. I'm not sure, but I'm sure there's going to be some more revelations up Kiria's sleeve regarding who he is. Definitely got a little sneaky son of a bitch. Next episode looks like fucking Snipe is just gonna murder them. The entire cast of Kamen Rider XA dies.
Puts a bullet in their heads.
Puts bullets in their heads with real guns.
Next time
he takes a P-32 Magnum. I don't think that's an actual gun. Takes a Magnum and shoots them in the head with the gun. They die. There's blood and there's swear words.
You know how easy it is to get a gun in this country.
You know how easy it is to get a gun in Japan? It's so easy, dude.
It's so easy nowadays.
You know, you're talking like you're a fucking like a beatnik. Like, you know how easy it is to get a gun these days, dog. Let me give you a little spoken word.
I like how you can't snap.
I can't snap, so I'm like making clicking sounds with my mouth. Let me just yo, you ever see this thing called Kamen Rider? Let me lay it down for you.
There you go.
Yeah.
I laid it for you all. And
I bear it all.
Anything else notable?
I think probably.
Probably.
Like, now that we're kind of learning bits more about Dan Kuroto, why do you think maybe he's any theories or speculation as to why he's working with the Bugsters when all accounts he shouldn't be? He should be working against them.
Money. I don't know.
Money?
I don't know.
Okay, so for like the Bugvisor, I'm possibly assuming that one thing I'm expecting is maybe that Dan Kuroto had been replaced with a Bugster clone of some kind. When 0 Day happened, I think maybe a Bugster appeared, probably infected him, and then took on his identity. Something along.
What if he went to the Bugster world?
That could be it as well. It could maybe, because I'm assuming that we haven't seen him use the Bugvisor for anything other than a weapon, but the fact that he's able to equip with it. Although Graphite did say jokingly, like, you're gonna use it, so I guess he could. Or maybe he can't. I'm not sure, but I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe he's half Bugster.
Maybe he's dead already.
Maybe Riders were dead the whole time.
Maybe.
Okay, like hey guys, it's Ruined Childhood Stevie here. I'm pretty sure that's their name. I don't know. My name's Ruined Child Stevie. The new Rider show is actually Purgatory.
Oh, it's like
you know.
Oh, Yeah, Kamen Rider Theories.
Kamen Rider Theories.
I subscribe to that YouTube channel. Check out Kamen Rider Theories, where they go into depth about
we run it.
all the hidden theories that you never.
We run it.
They were there. If you look hard enough, they're really there in the back of your mind.
We're pointing it out.
Yeah, analyze them up. Yeah.
We're analyzing it, just like
And-
taking a piece of chalk, running it on a computer screen,
You ever
pointing
no-
out the real
Do you ever
secrets.
notice how Sonics come? You know.
No, that's not Rider related.
Yeah, but you ever notice?
Yeah, I really do. I could just be driving around I could be driving through work, just driving to a job, and then I stop at a traffic, and I'm like, oh man, this traffic's really getting in the way of. I stop for a second. I look out the window. There's a tiny puddle on the road, and I go, is that Sonic's cum? And I'm on there licking that. Lapping that up like
I can't stop Kevin
lapping
sometimes.
that up like cat on milk.
Cat on milk. This kid will jump out to get it. Be careful.
He's still fixing paying for the bills for his car window after I shattered it with my fists. I still have stitches.
Yeah, we don't like to get into the details of.
Oh, I do.
Yeah, we don't like to get the details of the deep.
I do.
On that.
I love to get into the details. I got like little sacks surgically installed into my mouth to hold them. Actually, I could see that was me spurting a little bit right then and there. I'll only get that back in.
God, ew, he fucking grossed me out so hard when he just.
Jesus.
Moving on.
No, we're not.
Yeah, we're moving on.
Okay, well about Genham's cum. I'm not gay. There's just something about the Bugster virus.
There is something about it. Okay.
Hit me with that pause.
Hit me with that pause.
That pause. No. Give me that Bugster pause dick. It's like that bug sharing fetish.
No.
You never. Okay, I can't talk about that. That's too hot. Too X-rated.
Too hot. Listen to our hot X-rated cast next week.
I mean, I could talk about slurping up cum, but I can't.
I can get into it.
I can't talk about other fetishes.
It's not really the podcast for that, but I could totally get into it. Link in the description. I will include the
Linkin Park too.
Fuck you. Fuck off.
Oh, you got a bit of spit on my face.
you trash boy, get out of here.
Yeah, so anyone else want XA to raw me? Not all of them. Anyone else want to see it happen?
Poll of the week.
1,000,000% yes. 0% no. Line up your dollars.
I'm surprised if anyone hasn't clicked off from gagging so hard at the disturbing imagery.
So like in those movies like in the like Cinderella Man where they're fighting those really trashy boxing arenas, it's like that, and there's a hey, come up, line up the cash to get the tickets, and then they're talking like a guy from the 1920s, and they line up the cash, and you walk in, and there's a boxing arena, but instead of boxers, you just see me getting rawed by X-Aid.
Yeah.
You just hear pixel sounds, but they're.
You do pixel sounds pretty well.
That's not a pixel sound. That was me getting fucked. The pixel sounds would be like. Hey, what if when Mario was having sex with Princess Peach?
Yeah.
What if when he was having sex with her, it kept going one up?
Huh. Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah. What if
Kevin's pretty clever.
Hey, you guys go to newgrounds.com?
Newgrounds.com?
No.
Newgrounds.com? Everything about that?
All right, we're not. This is why we don't hang out as much as we used to.
Yeah.
This is. Anyways, I think the bug visor is cool.
Bug visor is pretty cool. That was the gist of that conversation. Because I know some of you that listen to this, there are a few of you, maybe one or two at most, that listen to this and don't know anything about Kamen Rider and will listen just on the fact that, personalities, I guess.
No.
I've had it happen. Someone will say, I'll listen to it. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'll listen, and that was the gist of it. He liked the toy.
It was your mom.
God damn.
Backstory, a bit of backstory that's all pretty condensed pretty easily. The patient, obviously, next episode is going to continue the whole plot line that obviously he doesn't want his daughter to care for him because he wants to focus on his factory and doesn't want her to worry, which is pretty much just a recycle of what we got last week. So I hope that's not consistently going on throughout the show.
Yeah, basically.
But
yeah,
I'm excited to see what we're gonna get for fucking Snipe. You think Snipe's gonna turn over a new leaf, or do you think he might be a Kaiser?
He's gonna turn over a new leaf.
You think so?
He
seems pretty freaking irredeemable so far, but
still gonna turn over.
Oh, probably. I'm just hoping he doesn't, so it stays interesting, because that's what happened with Ghost. With Spectre turned to a new leaf way too fast, and I don't know. But yeah, so I guess we can move on to our next topic, which is you said killing Kamen Rider.
Yeah, how would you do it?
My name is Bill O'Reilly. This is my new book, Killing Kamen Rider.
Yeah, that Bill O'Reilly wouldn't write a book like that.
Bill O'Reilly wouldn't have written that book. He doesn't know about Kamen Rider. He's about...
Yeah, I just said that.
Yeah, I'm following it up.
Oh. Yeah.
No. But no, the real question is, like, we were talking about this, like, is there a point to which you think Rider should just stop?
I'm getting to that point.
Really?
Yeah, I was just thinking about it today. I was just like, a lot of other shows go on for a while and they outstay their welcome a lot of time. And at the end of the day, why is it still being made? And obviously, it's for money and monetary gain. It's not made for the artistry of the show. It isn't.
I know. I get what you're saying. But, like, the way you were wording it, I get what you're trying to say, but the way you're wording it, like, yeah, old Rider used to be, like, art.
No, it's not. I'm not saying that at all.
Right, no, I'm just saying that's what it kind of sounded like, but continue.
It was always made like that, but how long is that even worth being around for?
That's true.
It would be fine if they were doing something crazy with it, but they're not really. They're
Yeah, because the last time they did that, because they were going to take a break after Blade, because Blade didn't do that well. And they were going to take a break, and they were going to look into doing a revival of Henshin Ninja Arashi, and then Toei was like, nope, you're doing another Rider show, and they decided to take all the elements from the Henshin Ninja Arashi reboot and put it into Hibiki. And that was supposed to be yet another attempt at revitalizing the franchise, and it worked out horribly, because Toei's flopped. So I get what you're saying, because it's easier to stick with a sinking ship rather than leap onto a spiky iceberg.
Yeah.
In the chance that you'll land somewhere safe.
I'm just saying Toko is a genre. I mean,
that was a bad analogy.
When Godzilla went away, people were, sad for a little while. But
you think that it should
I think bursts of hiatuses are good for the genre.
You think that's what you think it should get more than anything else is a hiatus and just kind of take a break?
Take a break.
Yeah.
Because then you get breathing room, and then you got time to enjoy time without Rider, and then you miss it, and then you want it back.
I definitely want Rider to play a role in my life, just because it's obviously something very important to me. I intend on raising my kids on it, assuming they like it. I'm not going to force it down them, but it is going to be something that's going to be in their periphery. So I definitely want it to stick around, but having a hiatus wouldn't be a bad idea, because that would make the return all the more satisfying, assuming it was good. So I get what you're saying. Maybe a few years of in between hiatuses and whatnot.
Yeah, that's why I like the new Godzilla
the sales have been gradually declining every year, so I could see them kind of maybe considering that at some point. If anything, they'll probably do it around the next anniversary. I could see them doing that. Doing the anniversary season, the 20th anniversary season for Heisei, and then taking a 2 or 3 year break, coming back.
Because all things end eventually, and
sure.
How long do you expect this to really go on for? What shows haven't, historically, haven't lasted this long usually. So, how long does this go on for?
And if it doesn't, how often can you make these breaks for it to recharge? That way, it can return to the public consciousness without there being some sort of fatigue. Because that franchise fatigue is totally a thing that's happening.
Definitely, popular Western shows, one that was in my mind immediately. SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Or what were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say spaghetti westerns.
Oh,
in particular,
definitely.
for that oversaturation, and I mean that's a completely different reason as to why people got fatigued on it. Same thing with superheroes. We're kind of hitting that point where we might be reaching a franchise fatigue with superheroes. And with Sentai and Rider and Ultraman all going on concurrently with one another, and a few others, I mean, there's definitely a point where it's kind of like, okay, we have to take a breather and kind of let people take a breather so that when it comes back, they're able to engage themselves fully, not just in terms of watching it, but also buying merchandise.
Yeah.
And it probably wouldn't hurt for them because I know they start planning the next Rider season when they're only like 14 episodes into the current one, so they prepare it almost nearly a year in advance. And I imagine doing a season that's like several years in the making could be very fruitful if done correctly.
Yeah.
Preparing it like one would prepare a movie franchise.
Definitely. I don't know. I just feel like a lot of things need to end sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, there's I don't know if I don't know if I completely agree with you there, just because I would definitely like it to keep going as long as it can. But if it means if for the longer lifespan of the series, if they have to take hiatuses, I'd be down with that.
So you're saying Kamen Rider is the best long-running TV show to you?
It's the most important.
It's the most important to you, but it's the best. Like,
I don't know if I can say the best. It's important to me. That doesn't
that's
necessarily.
what I'm saying. When a show gets to that point where it runs this long, I don't know what show is at its best still. You know what I mean? When it's prime, like
you don't know if it'll ever return to its prime, and
it's just reiterating things they've already done.
Sure,
I feel like.
And I mean, Transformers does that, but Transformers is so open with its premise that it can be done more freely. Whereas with Rider, and I mean, definitely Ishinomori, like his legacy is kind of a huge element of that, in that they want to do it respectfully and as well as they can with it being a profitable franchise. So they do that in the form of heroes turning into monsters, losing their humanity, powers meant for evil, kind of keeping those themes in Rider. You want to keep those, but at the same time, it almost risks it kind of getting stale. Even if you do things really differently, the same themes are there every season, and some might find that kind of exhausting after decades of it. Because Heisei's already gone on longer than Showa ever did, and that's kind of amazing to know. That I've experienced more Rider in pretty much most of my life than people did up until the 90s when it was around. That's pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. So you think that it should just end eventually entirely?
Well, everything does end eventually entirely.
But saying on your terms, if it were on your terms, you would want it to end eventually.
I'd rather end on a good note than a bad note where I don't want to even watch the ending. Does that make sense?
You want it to end while they're still ahead.
Like when Power Rangers RPM aired, if it stopped there, I would have been completely satisfied with that show. Like that legacy, I was like, okay, they ended on a good note.
Sure.
Now they drag it out, and it's in some form where it's like
you have to keep going until it reaches a point where it's good again, and then you hope it cuts off then and there. Mm-hmm. So you want them to stop while they're ahead, kind of while they're okay. I understand. So that way it's not looked upon in a negative way, and that's something you can reflect on and think, that was a good thing when it was going on, and it never got bad. Yeah. I get what you're saying. Kind of like you don't want it to be like The Simpsons. You want it to be a show that goes to a certain point until it recognizes that it's no longer fresh or original. Okay.
I mean, Simpsons, SpongeBob, like things like that, where you have such good initial, a decent amount of seasons. I feel like Riders had a decent amount of seasons. Yeah. Let's be fair. And
40 and counting.
Yeah, yeah. You've had enough. Like, I mean, I know that they won't end it anytime soon, but I do see that they potentially will end it eventually.
Okay, so you're saying it's going to end eventually.
Oh, it is.
Well, yeah, but you're saying it's going. It's going to end eventually, so you'd rather they stop while they're at a good point.
Yeah.
Okay. And this is like we're going to like life talk here, but like I look at it from the perspective of someone who would be. God, how do I word this without sounding pretentious? I'm trying to word this in a way like I know eventually when I have kids or I take care of my nephews or nieces. In the coming time, I care a lot about the things that they can consume and enjoy, so that they have good youths. Yeah. And I think Rider. If I was able to enjoy Rider as a kid, I think that would have made my childhood was good, definitely. But I think those kinds of good shows would be good for them to grow up with. And obviously, there's a point where a show stops being good in terms of writing quality. But even if that's the case, if they have good toys and good special effects to kind of keep the kids entertained while that happens, that's worth it for me.
My counterpoint to that is, what makes it not enjoyable if it's like an old show? Why can't they watch an old Kamen Rider season?
Because they're used to newer special effects and
they may be used to that, but why can't they watch it? Because when I was a kid, I would watch.
They can't limit.
When I was a kid, I would watch old cartoons that weren't airing anymore. They were long gone and dead. But I would find enjoyment in watching old things that were just not things new. Because they were older.
Right.
That there's some sort of mystique to that.
Oh, sure.
If I watch this old thing, I still get enjoyment out of it. I don't need it to be concurrent running with my life still. And you can still pull from it.
Yeah. That being said, there's only so many seasons you can watch. And there's only so many that will draw someone's attention.
I'm pretty sure there's enough seasons of Rider for that.
I'm going from the perspective that I'm a grown ass adult who can dedicate his time towards watching a kid's TV show for hours at a time if I have the time for that. So maybe my perspective on it isn't completely correct, but and that's assuming anyone who I raise will give a shit enough to want to watch these things consistently. But that might be true, that there might just be enough. But keeping in mind that kids' interests change.
There's so much toku that I know I won't even get around to watching. That's how much toku as a genre has available for you to enjoy.
My perspective on it's different. I feel like, and maybe it's just because I'm major autismo, but like I feel like I could definitely I could watch all of them if I really wanted to. Maybe that's just because my perspective on it, and I'm talking about like most Toei toku. I feel like my perspective on it is very different than yours, but I could very well be wrong. But no, I know you're shaking your head. You disagree.
I can't even binge watch fucking. I struggled getting through an 8 series on Netflix. Stranger Things. I couldn't even. I was struggling to do that. I can't watch Hunter x Hunter. I got to like 20 episodes. I struggle to get through that. No, for me, there's enough toku for me to enjoy for my whole life.
That being said, you are a slow eater, so to speak, in that you consume things very piece by piece. I can binge watch stuff.
Yeah. I used to be like that. I just think I'm getting old.
Sure, but I'm saying currently, as of late, you are
an old man.
You're a slow eater, so to speak. Whereas I can like shovel that shit.
That's not true because literally last week I watched all of the Berserk '90s anime because I enjoyed it so much. So if
aren't those OVAs?
The OVA, whatever.
Right.
The '90s anime. I watched the entire thing within that week, within a week or two. So if it catches my attention, I'll fucking go through it.
Okay.
But things like that, like with Toku, I love Toku.
Sure.
But I could definitely get tired with it really quickly. Same with anime. Same with shows that don't capture my attention like that.
Right.
If something captures my attention, I will definitely binge. I will watch Breaking Bad like that. I did.
Mm-hmm.
I will watch Game of Thrones like that. Game of Thrones is an hour-long show for the most part usually. And I will binge watch the fuck out of that all day. So honestly, I just think Toku in general is just a form of entertainment that I enjoy, but in bursts.
Sure.
Not a binge watch type thing because a lot of the episodes are very similar to each other. So it's fucking this is Monster this week. Oh, new power like that's the fucking thing. So I definitely get tired of that. So that's what I mean when I say there's enough of that shit where I could like. I could last on a lot. I could see where you would be different.
Yeah, I'm just from a different mindset, and then I can consume a lot of the same shit over and over again if I want to. So I totally get where you're coming from, though. There's only so much of the same stuff you can take in an amount of time. So I get what you're saying there.
Yeah. So you wouldn't end it.
I would keep it going as long as feasibly.
How long would it last? Like in your brain, how many years would you want it to see it go to?
I would want to see it to go until I was in my 40s, probably.
Another 20 years?
Another 20 years.
Wow. Holy
assuming
shit.
it was still good.
And then ends?
Yeah, pretty much. Or at least takes a hiatus that lasts several years and then maybe gets revived after I'm dead.
You want another Kamen Rider season every year for 20 years.
I never said every year. I'm just saying until I'm in my 40s.
But they run annually. They run annually.
Okay, well, maybe they
How many have there been already?
Okay, but I'm saying maybe they take hiatuses. Maybe they take a few years breaks in between.
I don't want it to die. I love Kamen Rider.
Sure, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like if ideally if they can continue to making the stuff that I enjoy, and as long as it's entertaining on a superficially entertaining, I will be okay with it running for another 20 years because I'll get some sort of enjoyment out of it, and my kids will get some sort of enjoyment out of it. It doesn't have to be every year. It could do fucking movies. They could do what they did in the 90s, where it's just movies, and then they come out with some merch for that. It could be 1 or 2 series every 2 or 3 years. I'm just saying, I would like to continue having a presence.
What age would you show them Kamen Rider?
Oh, I've shown my nephews and nieces, Kamen Rider when they're about 3 or 4, and they enjoyed that stuff.
3 or 4.
I mean, they just like the cool flashing stuff. It's neat. And then my 8-year-old nephew, he's old enough that he can read subtitles and stuff, so he can appreciate that stuff a bit more. So I've shown him a couple of the things and everything. So yeah, I mean, Sentai obviously being a bit more geared towards 3 or 4-year-olds, but I've shown them to my nephews and nieces pretty early on, and they all seem to enjoy it. So I mean, it would be something I'd be watching. So ideally, like, it would be something that would just be on the background at my home. Kid would grow up being around. So
I just feel like Rider at this point in time, not saying in the future, maybe in the future is more accessible. I just feel like right now, it as a show isn't easily accessible for a kid. Like, I'd have to be there to show a kid it. They wouldn't be able to just, let me go watch it.
Oh, you mean like accessible in the sense of like watching it, and like
a kid I think it's important for kids to find things on their own. That way they have it more as their thing. Because no matter what you introduce into life, when I was a kid, I liked finding things on my own, and it, being my thing now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's why I'm into it so much. A lot of this stuff I got exposed to by my cousins and stuff. They were big nerdos, but they didn't show me everything. They just showed me a little bit.
It's something that you have to,
you have to dig yourself. Pretty sure me and you definitely digged for a lot of the stuff we're into.
Sure.
You weren't just like.
I mean, it's not like I think there's a difference between having it in the periphery and then just kind of seeing it a few times and then kind of looking back into it a few years later. I get what you're saying. Because
I don't think I was never shown a show. Does that make sense? I don't think anyone ever showed me an entire show.
I mainly it would be I would either be watching it and then they would just come sit down next to me and watch it, or of their own volition, or like I would have or because one of the kids will be being rowdy or something, and they'll say, "Hey, can you watch him for a second?" We're like, "Oh yeah, you want to see some cool superheroes?" And I show them that. Keeps them entertained for 3 or 4 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, yeah, definitely there has to be. You can't force something onto a child. It has to be organic. I tried. My family tried to get me into being like a Star Wars kid, and I got into it later on. But my family trying to like force it on me as a kid really turned it off from me for a couple of years. So, no, I get what you're saying.
I feel like the only thing really weird. My cousin, he really wanted to show me Advent Children. When that just came out, this was a long time ago, and I didn't know what any of it was, and it was cool. That's the only memory I can recall where someone was like, "Oh, check this out."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
My brother-in-law did the same thing with Cowboy Bebop. He showed it to me, didn't give a shit. Like I didn't care. Years later, oh yeah, it's pretty good. Like I had to discover it myself, definitely.
Yeah.
You give younger people the opportunity to look into it themselves if they're interested. And then years down the line, hopefully you planted the seed, so to speak, and they kind of get into it. Yeah, definitely.
But even if they don't,
if they don't, no, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, it makes me happy, and I want to share my happiness with other people. So if it makes me happy, hopefully that means people who are like of mind, i.e., people who were born from, my children, they would hopefully be like of mind, so they could enjoy it as well. And obviously there's nature over nurture. I think you can raise someone. I think obviously some people are raised into being a certain mindset and, that kind of thing.
Do you think more people get happiness out of Rider or despair? Like
what?
Like people get really upset about Rider sometimes.
Sure. So, people get more happiness out of it, definitely. I mean, most people don't invest themselves in things that make them unhappy.
True.
So, yeah. I mean, it makes me happy. Even the nerds that you see that get really angry, I mean, they're only doing it because they feel like their happiness is being threatened. They're wrong. They're dumb.
Yeah.
But they think their happiness is being threatened.
Yeah.
And that's where the rage comes from.
I feel like that's kind of funny too, because a lot of people that, at least on the Western side of it, that are speaking like that, haven't been in, like, you weren't there from the beginning. Like, you couldn't have been. Not usually. Like, you weren't there when Rider first aired in the 70s.
No, of course not.
You can't even claim to be, like...
You can't claim to be a true connoisseur or OG. You can't claim to be OG. You can't claim to be an old guard.
Yeah, basically.
So, yeah, no.
So why do you feel like you have the...
People feel like they're being arbiter. Entitled, yes.
Yeah. Why are you entitled to your show being the way you want it?
Oh, sure, definitely.
You weren't even...
That's why it's like, for me, it's dumb. It's dumb. And we're kind of going into like territory like beating up nerds. But no, that's the thing I always say when people get like, well, that's not real Rider. Fuck are you? Like, you fucking arbiter of what Rider is? Rider's whatever Toei wants it to be. Like, let it go. But yeah, no, I get what you're saying.
I feel like that's the beauty of it too. Like, it could be whatever, like...
Exactly. As long as it follows the same concept loosely, it can still be a lot of other stuff, and that's neat. Mm-hmm. And they're all themes that can be compelling to just about anyone. I
think just going full circle, it's just Rider is different every year, but not different enough for me where I feel like it's getting tiring now.
And I'm the opposite. I feel like most of the time it's different enough for me to keep being interested. But with some...
And that's the funny thing is I can see both sides of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can see how both sides of that are totally
There's totally
different.
There's totally commonalities in between every season that some people would just be finding a huge turnoff.
And it's totally different each time for it to be good enough for you to keep watching, which is really weird.
Yeah. It's almost as if people have different opinions on things and there's different perspectives.
What if?
What if, man? Yeah. So I think that's about it. So we have we're almost at the 40-minute mark. Yeah. We have a blog that you can send our questions to. It's Bugboys Podcast.
Bugboyspodcast.tumblr.com.
Send us any questions and we'll try to answer them next week.
I'm gonna start promoting question asking on my Snap. I do promote the blog, the podcast there.
Yeah.
And I know up to 50 people see that every week, every time I post that, and some of y'all just don't click.
You just don't give a click.
You just don't give a click. And I'm still gonna call you out every week, and I'm gonna ask for questions via Snaps.
I mean, where's that cup? I don't have any cup. I can't make any prop jokes. Okay, you gotta send those questions. You gotta care. You gotta make us answer questions. You can send me questions about fucking whether or not the Megazord would raw me. I don't know. I'll answer it. Not really, but I'll answer most questions. You gotta send some.
Fun fact, it would rob him.
I said raw.
Oh, it would raw him.
You were like imagining like a Megazord like killing me instantly, like reaching their two fingers and killing me instantly. Tiny like wallet like nestled in between their gigantic metal fingers. There's just a spatter of blood, like tiny dollars flaking from his hands. Now I got the money. He's gonna go buy some Wawa.